Most men walk through life completely blind to the signals women send them every single day. Not just attraction signals, lust signals, the deep, primal indicators that a woman wants you physically, emotionally, intellectually, and the reason you miss them isn't because you're not smart enough or attractive enough. It's because you've been programmed to ignore your own masculine intuition in favor of overthinking, second-guessing, and seeking approval. Today, we're going to tear down the lies you've been told about attraction, decode the hidden language of female desire, and show you how Stoic principles can transform you from a man who begs for scraps of attention into someone who recognizes and responds to genuine interest with calm confidence. But first, let me tell you something that might sting. The woman you're interested in right now, she's probably already shown you she wants you multiple times, and you missed it because you're looking for the wrong signs in the wrong places. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men refuse to accept. Women don't communicate desire the way men do. When a man is attracted to a woman, he stares, he approaches, he makes it obvious. When a woman desires a man, she creates opportunities for him to notice her, to approach her, to take the lead. She doesn't chase, she positions herself to be caught. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For thousands of years, women had to be selective about their mates because pregnancy meant 9 months of vulnerability plus years of child-rearing. They couldn't afford to be wrong, so they developed sophisticated ways to test a man's confidence, his emotional intelligence, his ability to read social cues and take decisive action. This created a complex signaling system that most modern men are completely illiterate in. You've been raised in a world that tells you to ask permission for everything, to seek explicit verbal consent before making any move, to treat women like they're made of glass. And while respect and consent are non-negotiable, this mindset has made you deaf to the subtle ways women communicate their interest. Let me paint you a picture. You're at a coffee shop. There's a woman sitting across the room. She looks in your direction, makes eye contact for just a moment longer than necessary, then looks away. 5 minutes later, she does it again. Then she gets up to order another coffee, even though her cup is still half full. And she walks past your table, slowing down slightly as she passes. Most men, they don't even notice this happened. Or if they do notice, they dismiss it as coincidence. They think, she probably wasn't looking at me. She probably just needed to use the bathroom. She's probably not interested in someone like me. This is learned helplessness, masquerading as humility. The Stoics understood something crucial about human nature. We see what we expect to see, and we miss what we don't believe we deserve. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Your way of thinking about female attraction is sabotaging your ability to recognize it when it's right in front of you. Here's what actually happened in that coffee shop scenario. She noticed you first. Something about your presence, your energy, your focus caught her attention. Maybe you were reading a book instead of scrolling your phone. Maybe you carried yourself with quiet confidence. Maybe you seemed genuinely content in your own company. The eye contact wasn't accidental. It was an invitation for you to notice her noticing you. The second glance was confirmation. Yes, I'm interested. Are you going to do something about it? The walk past your table was her giving you the perfect opportunity to say something, anything that would open a conversation. But you didn't move because you were waiting for a guarantee. You wanted a neon sign that said, "I want you." Before you were willing to risk the possibility of rejection, this is where Stoicism becomes your greatest ally. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what happens to us, only how we respond to what happens to us. You cannot control whether a woman will be interested in you, but you can control whether you develop the awareness to recognize interest when it exists and the courage to act on it. Let's break down the real signals women send when they're attracted to you. Not the Hollywood versions, not the pickup artist fantasies, the actual behaviors that indicate genuine interest. First, proximity. Women create opportunities to be near men they're attracted to. She'll find reasons to be in the same spaces you occupy. At work, she might start taking breaks when you take breaks. At the gym, she somehow end up near the equipment you're using. At social gatherings, she positions herself where you can't help but notice her. This isn't stalking, it's strategic positioning. She's making herself available for interaction without appearing desperate or aggressive. Second, mirroring. When a woman is attracted to you, she unconsciously starts to mirror your body language, your speech patterns, even your breathing. She lean in when you lean in. She cross her legs when you cross yours. If you speak quietly, she lower her voice to match. This happens below the level of conscious awareness. Her nervous system is literally synchronizing with yours, because attraction creates a desire for harmony and connection. Third, playful challenge. This one confuses most men because they interpret it as disinterest or hostility. A woman who's attracted to you will often tease you, argue with you, or present small challenges to see how you respond. She might disagree with something you said, not because she actually disagrees, but because she wants to see if you'll stand your ground or immediately cave to seek her approval. This isn't cruel behavior, it's testing behavior. She's trying to determine if you're the kind of man who's secure in himself, or the kind who needs constant validation from others. Fourth, personal disclosure. When a woman starts sharing details about her life that she doesn't share with everyone, pay attention. She's creating intimacy through vulnerability. She might tell you about her childhood, her dreams, her fears, her past relationships. Most men treat these conversations like therapy sessions. They offer advice, try to solve her problems, or worse, they trauma dump their own issues in return. Fifth, and this is the big one, most men miss entirely. She creates situations where she's alone with you, or where physical contact becomes natural. She'll suggest studying together when she could easily study with a group. She asks for help with something she could handle herself. She'll find excuses to touch your arm when she talks, to sit close enough that your knees touch, to hug you goodbye just a little longer than necessary. Now here's where most men sabotage themselves, even when they do recognize these signals. They assume that recognition equals permission to become needy, clingy, or overly aggressive in their pursuit. This is where Stoic principles become essential. The Stoics taught that true power comes from self-mastery, not from controlling others. When you recognize that a woman is interested in you, your job isn't to immediately try to lock her down or extract commitment from her. Your job is to maintain the same calm, confidence, and self-respect that attracted her in the first place. Seneca wrote, "A man's worth is measured by the worth of what he values." If you value yourself, if you maintain your standards and your sense of purpose, even when a woman shows interest, this is the paradox of attraction that most men never understand. The more you need someone's interest, the less interesting you become. The more desperate you are to keep someone's attention, the faster you'll lose it. But when you recognize signals of interest and respond with calm appreciation rather than desperate gratitude, when you maintain your own life and goals while making space for connection, you become the kind of man women genuinely desire to be around. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I know a man who worked in tech, spent most of his time focused on his projects and his personal growth. He wasn't actively looking for a relationship, but he wasn't avoiding them either. He was simply living his life with purpose and presence. One day, a colleague started finding reasons to collaborate with him on projects. She'd ask thoughtful questions about his work, remember details from previous conversations, and suggest coffee meetings to discuss ideas that could have easily been handled over email. The old version of this man would have either completely missed these signals or immediately shifted his entire focus to winning her approval. Instead, he simply appreciated the connection while maintaining his own priorities. Their relationship developed naturally because he never made his worth dependent on her validation. When she suggested they grab dinner after a late project session, he agreed because he genuinely enjoyed her company, not because he was desperate for romantic attention. 6 months later, she told him that what initially attracted her wasn't just his competence or his looks, but the fact that he seemed genuinely content with himself. She said most men either ignored her completely or became completely different people the moment they sensed her interest. This is the power of combining awareness with detachment. You see the signals, you appreciate them, you respond appropriately, but you don't lose yourself in the process. Here's another crucial element most men miss. Women's attraction often increases. Gradually, through interaction and shared experiences, male attraction tends to be more immediate and visual. We see someone, we're attracted, we want to pursue. Female attraction often builds through emotional connection, intellectual stimulation, and observing how a man handles various situations over time. This means that many of the signals women send aren't about immediate physical desire, but about testing whether you're worth getting to know better. The woman who challenges your opinions isn't rejecting you, she's interviewing you. The woman who shares her problems isn't asking you to fix her life. She's seeing if you can hold space for complexity without trying to control it. The Stoic approach to this is patience combined with consistent action. You don't need to win her over in the first conversation. You need to show up as the same centered, purposeful man in every interaction. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, confine yourself to the present. When you're interacting with a woman who's showing signs of interest, don't fast forward to fantasies about your future together. Don't rewind to past rejections and assume this will end the same way. Be fully present to what's actually happening right now. When you're genuinely focused on the current moment, on the person in front of you, on the conversation you're having, you stand out dramatically from the distracted, anxious energy most people carry. They're afraid that if they truly recognized how much influence they have, how much attraction they generate, how much responsibility that comes with, they'd have to step up and become the men they're capable of being. It's easier to pretend you don't see the signals than to acknowledge them and take appropriate action. It's easier to believe women aren't interested than to recognize interest and risk the vulnerability of genuine connection. The Stoics called this preferred indifference, things that are naturally preferable, but not essential for a good life. Romantic connection falls into this category. It's wonderful when it happens, but it's not required for your happiness, your worth, or your sense of purpose. When you truly internalize this, when you genuinely don't need romantic validation to feel complete, something interesting happens. You start noticing the signals because you're not desperately looking for them. You start responding to interest with appreciation rather than anxiety. You start attracting people who want to be around your energy rather than people who feel sorry for your neediness. This is where many men get confused. They think not needing means not wanting or not caring. That's not Stoicism, that's emotional numbness. The Stoic approach is to want things without being attached to specific outcomes, to care deeply while accepting what you cannot control. You can absolutely desire connection, companionship, intimacy, love. The key is maintaining your equilibrium whether these desires are fulfilled or not. When your happiness doesn't depend on external validation, you become someone others naturally want to validate. Here's a practical framework for applying these principles. First, work on your own self-awareness. Notice how you feel and behave when you're around women you find attractive. Do you become a different person? Do you start seeking approval? Do you lose your center? Practice maintaining your authentic self, regardless of who's in the room. Second, develop genuine curiosity about people. Instead of trying to figure out if someone likes you, try to understand who they actually are. Ask questions that go beyond surface level. Listen to answers without immediately planning your response. Most people are starving for genuine attention and interest. Third, practice outcome independence in low-stakes situations. Have conversations with people you're not romantically interested in and notice how much more relaxed and natural you are when you're not trying to impress anyone. Then work on bringing that same energy to all your interactions. Fourth, trust your intuition. Men have been conditioned to ignore their gut instincts about social situations. But your unconscious mind picks up on signals your conscious mind misses. If you have a sense that someone is interested, don't immediately dismiss it as wishful thinking. Consider the possibility that your intuition is correct. Fifth, take appropriate action without attachment to results. If you sense interest, create opportunities for interaction. Suggest coffee, ask about shared interests, make plans. Do this because connection is inherently valuable, not because you need a specific outcome to feel good about yourself. Remember, rejection isn't a reflection of your worth any more than acceptance is. Both are simply information about compatibility in a specific moment with a specific person. The Stoic approach is to make your best effort with integrity and accept whatever results follow. Here's what this looks like in practice. You notice a woman giving you sustained eye contact and genuine smiles during conversation. Instead of second-guessing whether she's just being nice, you acknowledge the possibility of interest and respond appropriately. You extend the conversation, you suggest continuing it elsewhere. You create space for deeper connection. If she responds positively, excellent. You proceed with the same calm confidence that attracted her initially. If she politely declines, also excellent, you've acted with integrity. You've taken a calculated risk and you've gained valuable information. Either way, you maintain your self-respect and your sense of purpose. This is masculine leadership at its finest. Reading situations accurately, making decisions based on available information, and accepting consequences without becoming bitter or defensive. The goal isn't to become a master manipulator or a pickup artist. The goal is to become a man who sees clearly, acts with integrity, and maintains his center, regardless of external validation or rejection. True confidence isn't about believing you're irresistible to everyone. True confidence is knowing that you can handle whatever response you receive to your authentic self. It's knowing that your worth isn't determined by any single person's opinion of you. When you operate from this foundation, everything changes. You stop being afraid of signals because you're not afraid of the possible responses to those signals. You become the kind of man who notices when someone is genuinely interested because you're not desperately searching for validation from everyone. You become someone who can appreciate and reciprocate interest without losing yourself in the process. The signals are already there, waiting for you to develop the clarity to see them and the courage to respond appropriately when you do. Then, when you do recognize genuine signals of interest, respond with the calm confidence of a man who knows his own worth. Create opportunities for connection without becoming needy for specific results. Be present to what's actually happening rather than lost in fantasies about what might happen. If this perspective shifted something in your understanding of attraction and awareness, leave a comment. I control my focus. The most attractive thing about any person is their ability to be fully present to their own life, while remaining open to genuine connection with others.